Kickstarter games exist? Wait, is it actually Mega Man? It's Mega Man, but it's not Mega Man. Generic intro into that goes boo. Here back with another What Happened video, and today we're doing Mighty Number 9, What Happened by Matt McMuscles. I don't know what Mighty Number 9 is. If I had to guess, it has to do something with Mega Man. The last video I did, this was a comment that was left on that video, but the last video I did was Battlelands Wonder World, What Happened. Apparently, Matt has beef with that game, because I believe he does a video on it every single year. You can check out my reaction to the first one, I guess. I'll leave it right up there. Also, the link down below in the description, and I probably should make a What Happened playlist on the channel if this series continues. Thank you to all the people that, you know, enjoy these videos and watch them. I'm so glad you could be here. Also, the original video is top link down below in the description. I do read our comments, leave them down below. Let me know what the next What Happened video should be. Mighty Number 9, I'm going into this completely blind. Sometimes when I go into these What Happened videos, I've seen other videos on them in the past, but this, I've never even heard of Mighty Number 9 until last week. So I'm going into this as blind as I could possibly ever be. So it's going to be quite interesting. Like Battlelands Wonder World, I want to say Wonderland. I watched Alfred's video on it. So technically last week's video was the second time I watched something on that game. But shout out to the patrons. I could not do this if it was not for them. $3 a month to get you all my reaction videos there. It's like 16 videos a week. And this seriously would not be possible if it was not for them. I do read all your comments, whether you're patron or not, whether you're subscribed or not. Let me know what the next video should be. And if you've seen one you agree with, definitely like it as a way to kind of like vote for it. But let's go. I jump to Mighty Number 9, What Happened? Alright. I have never heard of this game ever until last week. I'm no idea. Is it a Mega Man game? I'm guessing it's a Mega Man game. That's my guess. I guess I just see a blue, like, robot helmet.
Hey there, kids, and welcome to another eye-peeling, soul-crushing episode of What Happened, the show
original
where we
videos linked down below.
agonize over the mighty
PUBG.
big failures of the mighty game industry.
No
and
idea.
For speaking of might, there is no other project, title, or evil curse comparable to the mighty levels of failure of KJ Inafune's Mighty Number 9. This is the first Kickstarter game we've covered here at What Happened, and while it won't be the last, it'll certainly be the hardest to top in terms of sheer
Kickstarter
infamy.
games exist?
So how did so many people get swept up in the fever of, whoa, look, KJ Inafune might get sent to the next dimension. We gotta save him, everyone. Open up your hearts, your minds, and especially your wallets.
Jimmy Neutron.
Shit, I love Mega Man. How can we bring him back?
Wait, is it actually Mega Man?
Okay, well, that guy doesn't look nearly as
Also, it is
charming or as cool as
but
Mega
it's not
Man.
Mega Man.
But whatever, make him
It's Mega Man, but it's not
no.
Mega Man.
Delays? Sure.
Oh, no.
Here's a buck or two. Wait, 3 separate pleas for more funding. Wait, you're being delayed
Well,
again?
how much do they need?
Cry like an anime fan on prom night.
Fuck this.
Oh.
Okay.
What went wrong? What happened? What happened?
So, what happened? Now, if you're one of the lucky few that missed this menagerie of morality when it was happening, you need to
I
get
have no
caught
idea
up.
what this is.
So, KJ Inafune worked for Capcom. He's
Mugs?
the father of Mega Man, but he's actually not. He didn't come up with his design and merely shepherded the franchise. He rose through the ranks for decades and forced the company to a big, stupid Western push that damaged it for years. He was then promoted again and just as quickly quit the company as he predicted doom and gloom for the Japanese gaming industry. Oh, how right he was. He then opened up 2 weird-ass companies.
I should have started Devil May Cry
and then had a big,
3.
huge, really important, life-changing announcement at PAX West in August of 2013.
No, should have started on
He
Saturday.
officially announced a spiritual successor to Mega Man, Mighty Number 9, and launched a Kickstarter live on stage to thunderous applause.
Okay.
At the time, Capcom had a long history of kicking the shit out of Mega Man whenever it suited them. However, before those fans could settle into a nice, long bout of depression, Capcom would announce a bunch of new Mega Man games and then just cancel them on you just as you were in mid-blink. Inafune was banking on those Mega Man fans to make this new Kickstarter success.
Wait, so they just like
they had
the carrot
Capcom,
on a stick kind of deal? Just like, oops, what's that? And then he's like, hey,
happy days were
if you fund it, we'll make it.
For all involved at first, as each and every stretch goal was smashed, re-smashed, and then smashed again. So despite asking for $900,000 for the base game,
did they really think they were going to be able to make a game on $900,000?
Over $4 million, making it the most successful video game Kickstarter at the time. Who made this all possible? Well, everyone!
credits are nearly 4 hours
before we get
long.
Our hands really nasty, I'll take a moment right here to let you know where I'm headed with all this. The Mighty No. 9 Kickstarter is a masterclass in mismanagement, miscommunication, and pretty much any other negative term that has miss in the title. If you want to see an excellent rundown of every single thing Concept did wrong in that department, and there's a lot, please check out the Stop Skeletons from Fighting video on the subject, as I can't.
Now to think about it, I probably should have done Devil May Cry 2. What happened?
Focus as much as I can on the development itself, with the information that's been made public and other bits and bobs.
Honestly,
that
not the worst game
safe
I've ever
to
played.
Assume. With that in mind, we're going to do something a bit different on this episode, and what I propose is breaking down the main problems of this garbage fire in 3 digestible chunklets for easier consumption.
Oh, Game Champ 3000's video. Game Champ 3000 is some crazy stuff. I know she dropped another video that I still need to get to. Game Champ actually watched my videos and commented on almost all of them.
Farm out said ideas to other studios to do the heavy lifting, and in this case, the heaviest lifting was done by Inti Creates, an independent studio that cut their teeth developing the Mega Man 0 series as well as 9 and 10 respectively. Since Inafune had worked with them before, it was only natural for them to team up again. So far, so good. However, the first signs that Concept was biting off more than their mouth could possibly chew was right there in the stretch goals.
I hate that with the computer like that.
Any creative project is to know your limits and not to overpromise or overstretch, as it will inevitably lead to complications down the road. And I present to you complications down the road. Mighty No. 9 was
that's how many platforms?
10 different platforms altogether, which is an insane amount for any studio or studios.
I guess if it's at a certain amount.
Hell, some people can't even get one version of a game right, so promising 10 of them is the type of naive foible that makes this show possible.
Yeah.
While producing
is it really that big of a deal though?
A monumental amount of work. There's another
to make it work.
To it that
I mean, hopefully the game engine works
realize.
on all of them.
To make the porting process go as smooth as possible, you need to design for something called the lowest common denominator. In this case, that would be like the Xbox 360 or the 3DS. It doesn't matter. What does is that Inti Creates had to make something that could run across a variety of different machines, from PC to Japanese consoles to American ones. It just needed to be flexible and basic, so no one platform would give them any trouble. Since we are talking about Mighty No. 9, however, trouble had a way of cropping
I thought it
up
was
regardless.
Mega Man.
The year this whole thing was announced, 2013, is a date that's intrinsically linked to a lot of its core problems. Concept and friends found themselves smack dab in the middle of a technological generation that was transitioning
new consoles,
to a new one.
And people still had the old consoles. There's still people that still rocking Xbox 360s, I think, right?
One, but tons of people
I'm recording this on an Xbox One.
360s and PS3, so it wasn't exactly wise to leave them out of the loop. And don't forget about the Wii U.
I remember the
lots of people tend to do that. Hey guys, what you got there? Oh, cool.
The Witcher?
So, by the time Mighty No. 9
was
first
I'm literally
to
recording this on an
in
Xbox One.
The PS4
and then I have a
Xbox
Series X
One
for
would be
games that
established, so
require it.
Jesus, just throw those onto the pile. In the end, there wasn't much Inti Creates could do about all this. I bet they were shitting themselves with each and every stretch goal reached, like, okay.
They're like, I really hope. It's like, that amount of money doesn't pay for it.
The last thing we'll be touching upon when it comes to planning is another aspect that some might point to as the saving grace or the safety net of Mighty No. 9.
What is the budget?
Hey, you
the budget being low, so people had low expectations.
$4 million. That should have been enough to fix any problems during development. $4 million, huh?
I don't know if $4 million covers all of that.
If that is indeed what you think, then I have something that may surprise you. Something
what
that
happened?
May shock and discredit you. Mighty No. 9 didn't make $4 million at all.
What did it... Wait,
it's been
what did it
reported
do?
that Concept, like a lot of Japanese companies at the time, were not fully aware of the risks of crowdfunding to begin with.
What
Concept,
do you mean?
Unfortunately,
What risks?
didn't account for this in their budget for the actual game. So, with some quick math, $4,600,000.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
40%.
A lot of money.
Carry the 3, we wind up with a rough total of $2.4 million.
Wait, why do they end up with that? Wait, why?
So, a budget that was almost halved wasn't accounted for, and yet
why was it halved?
stretched to fund all those ports. not an auspicious start. Now,
If
because of this money mismanagement,
the
a lot
goals
of
reach a
things
certain-
like voice acting and DLC
When they
needed
set the numbers,
more
they had
money
no idea
after
what they were
Concept
doing,
realized
seems
the
like.
miscalculation. Unfortunately,
miscalculated how
all
much
three
it
of
would
them
cost.
never made their initial goals. More on that later. But make no mistake, minor gameplay decisions, level design, and technical hiccups aside, this is really what people
nowadays
Mighty
wonder if they
Number
just
9
use AI.
right out of the gate.
And this is him, like,
The
he
next
has
thing we need
the
to
name
address is that
recognition
game
with
development
Mega Man.
is
Just kind of like what we
hard,
saw at
not gonna
Balan's
lie. A million
Wonderworld.
things can go wrong
Almost.
at any time. Designs can change, and unforeseen shit can jump out at you from
No
behind an
Man's
office
Sky.
desk 24/7. Bearing that in
Yeah,
mind,
that was a
from
good
the
video.
initial pitch to the finished product,
What?
a couple of things were altered
what was the
during
name of
Mighty
that
Number
video?
9's development,
Internet
and a
Historian?
lot of them could probably be chalked up to the same thing: keeping things in line across all platforms. In various
luck.
promotional materials, we can see that early on, Concept had produced art of Beck, the new playable hero, transformed into various machinery
And
like
that
industrial
didn't make it into the game
hammers
probably.
and power lifters, gaining tank-like treads to cross spiked paths. This obviously shifted somewhere down the line and was never mentioned again
Yep.
for the rest of the campaign. Instead,
I feel
the
like that was
absorbing
maybe like
mechanic
a-
whereupon causing enough damage to
they trying to
enemies
use
would
it to
let Beck
pitch the
instantly
game.
kill them through dashing was emphasized. This ability was underutilized to say the least, as Beck could simply dash infinitely through the air anyway, which
He
trivialized
could
certain
just
stages,
fly.
letting players skip a lot of sections.
That's what I
This
would do.
really seems like a system that wasn't given enough time or thought, as just limiting the amount of mid-air dashes or putting a
Yep, or a
cooldown on
cooldown,
it
yeah.
could have halted it from abuse. You could then build challenging platform sections around the idea of dashing from enemy to enemy, but instead it's just a slightly novel way of killing
Yeah.
them and not much more. This
That's
wasn't
crazy.
even the biggest thing Inti Creates struggle with, however. Oh no, as that distinction goes to Mighty Number 9's multiplayer. Wait, it had
The game had
fucking
multiplayer?
There was a competitive racing element
Yo,
where
what?
two players would square
Racing?
off online to see who could get to the end of a set stage first.
That's
it was
like
a
an obstacle
throwaway
course
mode
thing?
that was
Kinda
a stretch
cool.
goal, so I guess it had to be there, but was it worth it? Frankly, no, because this
No.
mode
Oh.
caused incalculable damage to the game in the long run,
Why?
as well as for Inti
Because they
Creates.
had to
But
focus on that?
why? Well,
Why?
because it was the first online mode they had ever worked on. Yes, prior to Mighty Number 9, this little studio had never tried their hand at direct online play, so it's
And that
fairly
was-
understandable it would be a little rough. And
A
yeah,
little rough?
It was a little rough, even
Probably,
at launch. Actually, especially at launch.
Does this game-
Players would constantly be out of
Does
sync,
this game
run at
exist?
different
I mean,
frame
it
rates,
launched, though,
encounter
obviously.
crashes, all of the etceteras. It was the single
Oh,
most
oh,
unpolished
oh,
bit of the
oh,
game,
oh,
and
oh,
lots of
oh.
people hated it. How many exactly?
Everyone. Okay. So this transition is used for what? Oh, different chapters.
So that's it for the main
campaign.
development. But of course, we have to point out some of the many,
It's gonna be bad.
many problems that the Kickstarter
They probably
had.
promised a lot of
Backers-
things.
God, backers never actually went in on any of the additional calls for funds that I mentioned earlier. Stuff like the voice acting for English, Japanese, and the Raid DLC all demanded their separate
They had
campaigns and
DLC?
budgets, because again, Concept didn't actually have $4 million. Now, why these features were being added to bloat the already massive workload in the first place is anyone's guess.
What-
But
how-
since all three
how big
failed
was
to
the
meet
game
their initial
actually?
goals, Concept diverted money from elsewhere to fund just one round of voice acting. It's really
What do you
weird,
mean
though, that
one
they're
round
pushing
of
so
voice
hard for
acting?
features that the majority of backers didn't want. I guess Mega Man fans weren't really interested in voice acting.
just wanted a game that
I can't
worked.
imagine why.
Don't run away, coward. You'll pay for this insult.
When we find that meteor,
high school?
we'll find Dr. Wowie.
Anyway, there was one other crowdfunding snafu that no fan of Mighty Number 9 wanted anything to do with.
Which
and
is-
that was Red Ash, the indelible legend. Now, to be honest, I don't really want to go into this whole thing, as it doesn't really have anything to do with Mighty Number 9 per
What?
se. It's
Is
a
it
whole
another
other energy
game?
tank I don't feel like drinking. Ah, fuck it. Cliff Notes version then.
Okay,
let's
Cliff
go.
Notes. I've never heard of
Mighty
this.
Number 9 is not finished. Concept opens another Kickstarter for a Mega Man Legends spiritual successor. It looks very
What?
poor. Its campaign fails very fast.
Oh,
In 2015,
that's still half
Inafune
$1
said
million.
he
I guess it
procured
wasn't
an
fun,
outside
so
source to
people get the
fund
money
it,
back?
and that it will be completed. It's 2019 now, by the way, and there hasn't even been a soft fart about it since.
Red
Remember,
Ash?
though,
I had to look it up.
was an idea factory. They were free to pitch this idea
Red
since
Ash
their design work on
game.
Mighty Number 9 was done. So by that measure, it wasn't really shady, just completely and utterly tone deaf. One last thing though, what does
I can't see
indelible
anything.
mean anyway?
I don't see anything about it actually coming out.
Oh, that's actually hilarious. Back on
Unforgettable.
track. We're now entering the last major
Let
pivot.
me just go back.
What does indelible?
Let me just make sure.
There hasn't even been a soft fart about it since.
Sorry,
Remember, though,
sorry, I
Concept
don't.
was an idea factory. They were free to pitch this idea since their design work on Mighty Number 9 was done. So by that measure, it
So then
wasn't
they
really
just started
shady,
working on
just
it. Okay.
Completely and utterly tone deaf. One last thing though, what does
They're just like, oh, what do we do
mean
now?
Anyway, Oh, that's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
Back on track. We are now entering
Yeah, I don't think it
the
ever
last
came
major
out.
pivot point from Mighty Number 9, the involvement of Deep Silver and the cavalcade of poorly timed delays it saw in the last few months before launch.
I mean,
Concept
it-
announced in April
it came out,
2015
though.
They had found a new partner that would publish physical copies for a myriad of platforms.
Physical
And
copies,
the
that's
extra
a good way to
capital
save money,
procured
right?
From the deal could afford more voice acting, that Ray DLC, and oodles of localized languages. However, along with this glorious partnership meant a delay from spring of that year
course.
to September 15th, which totally makes sense.
that bad
All
of a
this new
delay,
content
yeah.
needed a few extra months to be integrated into the base package, and a single delay is common for most Kickstarters anyway. However, on July 23rd,
there's some-
that September
are there
date
good
turned
Kickstarters,
into a,
like,
I don't
that you know of?
date, as online retailers started slotting in placeholders with no communication from the mighty team as to why.
Oh.
Then, at the very end of the month, they finally spoke up and confirmed that
And
yes,
said-
Mighty Number 9 would slip to 2016.
Oh, no.
But why? Well, remember that
What
online
was the delay
multiplayer
this
mode
time?
that
Oh,
were
they're having
working
issues
on?
with it? That
NT
they've never had-
creates his
they've
first
never had
online
experience with
mode?
multiplayer?
That's why. Bugs were
Couldn't
cited
they
as
just
the main
launch the game
reason
without
for the
multiplayer
delay, so
working
it
at
would
launch?
require more time to iron them out.
Isn't that what a lot of games
The new
kinda do?
date was set for early February.
GTA
20th.
5
Never
launch,
mind, the
like,
date is now set
with
for
no
spring
multiplayer?
2016. Yes, and late January, Concept announced a third delay, again blaming instabilities in the multiplayer matchmaking. Also, in
Who
case
would
you
have
forgot,
saw that
since
coming?
there's 8 or 9, 10 versions of the game, this one bug will require a lot of extra work to fix across all platforms. How
I know
long
nothing about
exactly?
game design,
well, let's
but-
just say up to June 21st.
Oof.
Of course, before that, we're all blessed with Deep Silver's now textbook example of how not to make a trailer for a video game.
Do you like awesome things that are awesome?
Oh,
probably a
no.
dash that makes you breakfast. I don't know. I'm ready.
This is the trailer?
Mighty Number
What
9.
what were the dislike
To NT
the like
Creates'
ratio
credit,
on
they
that
did
trailer
not
if it was on
approve
YouTube?
of this ad and were pretty vocal about its quality.
Oh.
Like a lot of people were.
Oh, so that
We're
wasn't
now entering
official?
launch
That wasn't an
week, and if
official
you
trailer?
weren't wearing your
Was it somebody
surprised
making
face,
fun of
you'd
them?
be excused because the launch of the actual game went
Hmm.
rather poorly. The 360
How bad?
version was late by a few days. DLC codes to the Ray level were missing. The Wii U version was a hot jar of mayonnaise. The 3DS and
Well,
Vita
it's
ports
Wii
were
U.
delayed, and physical rewards were only shipped out to Kickstarter supporters over a year later.
But were
Wait,
they
what?
burlap?
Fangamer was to supply physical NES-style
it burlap?
boxes to backers, but
Or
we're
was it
waiting
nylon?
on Concept to provide the funds to do so. The problem with that is that Concept had no money. There's some
Brooke,
guesswork
please
here,
help.
but the
Thank you.
regular physical and digital sales of
Yo,
Mighty
that
Number
man
9
is
that
large.
any Joe Schmo could buy weren't particularly soaring. Thus, there wasn't enough money to power the production and shipment of those NES boxes. It is until 2017, where Level 5 of Professor Layton and Ni no Kuni fame purchased Concept
No idea.
for some reason.
For
One
how
month
much?
later, Fangamer mysteriously started shipping the physical goods to Kickstarter
Oh,
backers
nice.
almost a year after the fact. But
year
better late than
after?
never, I suppose. It's safe to
Yeah,
assume that the financial security
like,
of being bought by Level 5
year
was what
later?
made this
Are
possible.
people still
but,
playing the game at that
who
point?
knows?
When they
also,
are-
the NES-style boxes and manuals were missized. I gotta say, one thing you do so well, Mighty Number 9, is always staying 100% on brand.
What?
Of course, the fact that the game wound up being a middling derivative platformer lacking much of the charm of the original Mega Man's did it no favors. Maybe if the Kickstarter communication had gone smoothly or, like, well at all,
Basically,
and
they
there
bit
had
off
been
more
no
than they could
delays,
chew.
people might have cut it more slack. Regardless, indie creators were put in an unenviable position, had to be beholden to a number of stretch goals and restrictions, had less money to work with than initially thought, and were under constant pressure.
Yeah, I don't know why they lost half the money almost.
Anyway,
or not necessarily half, but like
Concept,
over $1 million.
Level 5 Concept are apparently working on a Dragons and Colonies title that seems to still be in development, although it's really hard to tell.
That's released right after I finished the script.
Who has
Nice,
since
perfect
shied
timing.
away from doing any public appearances, for his part, has placed the blame squarely on himself. I own all the problems.
Okay, he took accountability for that. Okay, that's good.
At me, it's totally my fault.
Okay, he didn't throw anybody under the bus.
I will own that responsibility.
That's good.
He has also echoed some of the statements and assumptions made here, specifically that maybe shipping on 10 SKUs was probably a massive mistake.
Yeah.
In my many years at Capcom, they were known for their multi-platform strategy, but never
that was
did
Capcom.
they do 10 SKUs all the same
Capcom
time. 10
didn't do
different
10.
versions, all for
and they
one
tried
title.
to do 10.
Usually, you have the base game and work on the port after it was done. In this case, it was do the base game and do the port all at the same time. It ended up being a huge amount of work, more than we actually estimated.
Yeah.
Now, he says 10 SKUs, but let's remember, those Vita and 3DS ports never actually shipped. The last official statement regarding this issue is that both versions would be completed and made available by the end of 2017. What the fuck? Things aren't all bad.
Did they ever come
Despite
out?
The massive amount of stress, uncertainty,
or did you just hope that those consoles would just, you know, not work anymore?
Has gone on to great success with a streak of well-received games. Chief among these is their Gunvolt franchise, Blaster Master Zero 1 and 2, Dragon Mark for Death, and the crown jewel, Galgun. Galgun.
Why is she wearing a cloud?
Just goes to show that these types of scandalos don't always result in instant closure, just most of the time. Now, listen, Kickstarters are never a sure thing. In fact, they're susceptible to a whole host of problems that are unique to them, but it's unfortunately a fact that Mighty No. 9 damaged some people's perceptions of crowdfunding, which I don't think is really all that fair. Every form of media can disappoint and have things go wrong during the creation phase.
Dragon Ball Evolution. Maybe I should do that. The Last Airbender movie. That's the first time I ever watched a movie in a theater.
Mighty No. 9 was obviously mismanaged from many fundamental standpoints, but its intentions, of course, were good, although far, far too ambitious to deliver on. If you look at a campaign like Shovel Knight, which how they structured and delivered on their promises, resulted in one of the most loved and polished platformers in recent memory. So Mighty No. 9 is not a thing to point to, so you can say crowdfunding sucks or doesn't work, but rather a cautionary tale that simply states.
But how do you know who's good or bad?
Damn, we made a lot of them.
Is that the credits? The 4-hour-long credits?
Media misfires, slap them comments down.
I didn't know about this one.
Or hit up the Flophouse VIP Patreon to participate in our next official poll. See you next time.
Nice.
Mighty Ones, and thanks for watching.
Mighty Ones. Donald Kirby. The footage. Oh wow, that's a lot of footage there. Okay. Mighty No. 9. Did not know it existed until now. Also, I have no idea what that. Oh, it's Critical Role. Why is this like Mighty 9? Is that a thing for Critical Role? Which I think Critical Role, that's like a D&D channel, right? I want to say D&D, right? Okay. Oh yeah, look at that. Stop Skeletons Friday. That's a video that he was just talking about. This is very interesting what happened. The next one should probably be Devil May Cry 2, because I just finished that game and I should be starting Devil May Cry 3. Or actually, I should have started Devil May Cry 3 this past Saturday, and all those videos are uploaded onto the gaming channel, Duck Goes Gaming, on Tuesday if you want to check those out. I also live stream 4 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you join my Discord server, you get notified every single time I go live. But, yeah. I was right in thinking that it was Mega Man, at least. I guess the only reason why I thought it was Mega Man was because, you know, Blue Helmet Robot Boy, I think. Okay, like I said, I had no idea this game even existed, which apparently was probably a good thing that I didn't know it existed, just like most things, apparently. Most bad things people envy that I don't know about them, but then there's so many good things that I've never heard of that people are like, what, you haven't heard of this before? This is Mighty No. 9. I look forward to the next What Happened video. Check out the original, top link down below in the description. I look forward to reading your comments, but until next video, take care, and kitty music.
We were